I have something different today for this video, and for those of you who are not familiar with your pines, this is one of our Scots pines, Pinus sylvestris, but you notice that it's got a slightly yellow tinge to it. This is a special hybrid and it's called Pinus sylvestris aurea. So not only has it got golden tips, it is really a slightly yellow pine. So it's not sickly, but that is the nature of the pine. So we grow a lot of these in the field. So when I get trees like this, not all my trees have to be bonsai, because sometimes we use them as garden trees. For small gardens, they would work beautifully. So over the years, what I have done, because I've grown this must be about 25 or more years ago, I cut off a branch here and allowed a side branch to grow, and that's how I got this kinky shape growing in this fashion. So I've now got to decide what am I going to do with it. And because of the height, I certainly do not want it to be a bonsai, but I will concentrate on making it look like a garden tree of sorts, because we have a lot of people with small London gardens, and this is the ideal size of tree for them. So let's see what the design I can get out of it. So whenever I get a pine like this, the first thing I consider is which to make the front and which to use as the back. So there's so many different positions we can put it. It can either be this side or it can be that side. Very often the tree speaks to you. When I turn it round, I keep coming back to this side as the preferred front. I don't know why, possibly because this side, which is the potential back, has got more branches. So this is a bit cluttered. So that side would clearly be the better side. So let us home in on this. Also, the way the tree leans has something to do with it. When it leans that way and comes back on itself, I feel more comfortable with the tree like that. If I were to use the tree like this, leaning that way, I'm not so sure if I like it that way. So, as I say, the tree will speak to you and tell you which is the preferred side. The other thing I always consider when I have material like this brought in front of me is the disposition of the tree. Disposition, I mean the angle of planting. I remember when I went to Toronto 2 weeks ago, one of the first things I did with most of the trees was simply change the angle. It is quite amazing when you simply change the angle, you get such a different perspective. Let me get a pot to prop it up and I will show you exactly what I mean. So this tree, let me prop it up this way. Putting it here, you can use blocks of wood, or I prefer in this case to use this mica pot. Let me prop it up like this and see how it looks. If I prop it up this way, is it any better? I'm not so sure. Let me see if I prop it up not so acutely, a little bit of a prop. Would that be better? Or would it be okay in the angle that it's been growing in the pot? I think this is a very nice position. So until you try it, you never know. So I always would recommend that you give it a try to see what it would be like when you prop it up. So we're quite happy that this is probably the best position for this tree if we style it. So we will try and show this beautiful trunk, get some branches this way and make it lean back that way. Let's see how it works. I'm not sure if we need to get a head to the tree. We can try all sorts of things. For one thing which is sure, we will need to use quite thick wire. We've taken so much trouble to grow it, it would be a shame to cut off too much from the tree. There are quite a few branches which we may not need. That's a nice branch there. So is this. So there's so many considerations. See, so that's a nice one coming that way. Or is it better to use this one? Again, let me bring a bag and use the famous bag trick. The more I work on these trees, the more I've come to realize how important this white bag is. You can get so much out of the bag. So if you don't want to cut a branch off, you see this is the view I'm getting without this complicated branch coming down. Or do I want it? Or if I get rid of this one, keep looking from that side, please. So, should I do this? But there is not a lot of foliage on this, it's only got a little bit of foliage. No, I've got that too. So it's a hard decision. There are two branches which can potentially be used. Which one should I use? I can't use both. So, method of elimination. As you all know, when I do my videos, I'm giving you my thought process. What is it that exactly goes through my mind? What am I thinking about? So my mind is actually racing away, thinking, which should I cut? This one or this one? The back branches are a bit congested. There's a lot going on there. So do I need all that? And then there's some crossing branches here. Again, when you consider this famous less is more principle, you've got to be careful. If you apply the less is more, you don't remove so much that you end up with nothing. So this is a very crucial stage, deciding how much to cut. And of course this branch, which is coming this way, should it go this way? Should it go back on itself this way, which I can easily do, or keep it this, or just keep the tree empty this side? I think we can simply try it and see if it works. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire a couple of branches and change the direction like this to see what happens. Okay, so just to show you what we're doing, we're wiring some of the branches. I've got here Josh doing some of the wiring for me, and we're going to wire literally everything. This is a good practice or method to use when you're faced with complicated material like this. Literally wire everything in place, then arrange the branches in position, and then eliminate the ones you don't want to use. So let the design evolve, as it were. Just let it evolve. So as I say, we are not aiming to make a bonsai out of it. We are going to make a elegant garden tree. So let me show you the wiring so far. Josh is wiring, and we're going to wire every single branch and twig and then arranging them to see what happens. This is the age-old, not trick, but process where you can't go far wrong. If you wire everything in existence and then arrange it, you can then decide which to keep and which to discard. So it may not look anything now, but wait till it's all wired and we place it in position. You will see a magical transformation. So here we are, 1 hour later. Josh and I have spent 1 hour wiring almost every single branch. If you come close and have a look, we use a mixture of 4 mil down to 1 mil wire. So as far as possible, we've wired virtually every twig and branch, bar one. And then we're going to see, simply by arranging the wired branches, what design effect we have. Now, if you look at this one first, this branch, it can either go this way or it can go back that way. So if you have a look at from there, I can make it go this way so that it is like a little branch coming out of the elbow. Like so, I can arrange it like that. So that is one possibility. So that is one possibility. Do you think it looks okay like that? Yeah. Better that than here. Yeah, okay, so we'll tie that with a guy wire. We tie that rather than wire it. So we do that. So let's do that and see what happens to it. So that is one option. So as we say, simply by wiring everything and then arranging the branches in the right place, we can get a very satisfactory outcome and design. Okay, that's lifted that there, and then I think we've got to bend this branch that way. In fact, we might need to put another piece of wire to get that effect. Yep. So that is the sort of configuration we want. The only troublesome branch is this one, but I don't think we need that somehow, because it's conflicting with this one. So I don't think we need to think too much. We probably leave a little stump in case we need to use it for anchoring. Get rid of that. So that's the only branch we've cut off so far. That's the only branch we've cut off so far. Isn't that marvelous? Hardly any wire. Okay, I'm just going to turn the tree around so that I can work more easily from the back of the tree. So once it's wired, you can take the branches back on itself, shorten the branch. So this is where, as we say, once everything is wired, you can just manipulate it to create virtually any design you wish. You see how we've twisted it like that and like that. Create the pads. So we got to keep returning to the front of the tree to see how it looks from the back. So that is how we want the pad to look. And then if we look at the other parts of the tree, if you home in on this, there are a few dangling bits we don't need. Like this one we don't need, we get rid of that. Get rid of that. We want the bases clean.
Is this as flexible as the standard Scots?
Yeah, very flexible. The Scots pines are very flexible. In fact, too flexible, because the Scots pines are so floppy when they're not wired. So it seems that they need to be wired virtually their entire life as a bonsai, because without the wire they are so floppy that they don't really look good. Although this is our Scots pines, which we find a lot in the UK, you do find it in Europe as well. In other countries like America, they have other pines like the jack pine. There's so many different types of pines, but I'm sure the habit would be similar to this. So we've got to now decide what we do with some of these branches. And there's a possibility of making a little apex should we wish to. So we got to decide whether we actually want an apex or not. We may not need an apex. See, the beauty of the tree is that it's a slanting tree.
What if we pull this into here?
Or come lower down.
That would impact huge.
Do we want a head? If we make a head, it may become too common. We want it to be like a sweeping tree.
Yeah.
Sweeping this way, flat. Sweeping like that, rather than with an apex. With just a hint of a head. With a hint of a head. See, that is coming okay. But I've got to look again to see whether this branch would be better really going back this way rather than going the other way. All the branches sweeping that way rather than going this side. If we make it go like that, it may still work, have nothing here. So that's a major design decision, all coming this way. If I make it come this way, it may hide that very thin trunk, and that may be quite nice. That may be quite nice.
Even if it's a short bedroom feature after repetition, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. So it's like a sweeping tree, all this way, all in this direction. So that is repeated and this is repeated. That's a little dead twig we don't need, that we won't need. So you are repeating that theme. So you can see what we're trying to do. We're trying to repeat this line and that line. So I'm not sure whether we want to get rid of this one because, as I said, sometimes less is more. Is it better like that? clean line like this and get rid of that. So that's a bold decision to take. So because it's been wire, I'm going to cut it off with a wire cutter. I'm going to use that as an anchor. And hey presto, I'm going to get rid of this. That's the second branch we've removed. So we've got that clean line, So we've got this part coming this way, this part coming this way. So all flowing in this direction, this flowing in this direction. So we've now got to decide what to do with the head, if there is indeed going to be a head. And this is hanging down. I don't think we need this. Don't need this one. Don't need this one. I think that bit, I don't think we need that, do you? It's doing nothing. There's too much there. Okay, let's get rid of that one. All these back branches help to give depth and perspective to the tree, so I'm not bothered about that. Yeah, so we're going sweeping that way. Everything's sweeping this way. Lift it, you can see the line. I want to show the line. That helps. Lifting it a bit like that. You can see the line. Let's see what we're going to do with this. See, once the wires are in place, as I said, all we're doing is arranging the branches that have been wired into suitable disposition. I probably need to do more wiring here. So let's wire like this. We stop the camera, wire this, and then see how we're getting on. So the main design is done now. You can see how the design is coming. Clean lines. So we worked about an hour and a half wiring all the branches, keeping most of the branches, and so far all we've removed is this amount. We haven't removed much, but this tree for the design is still too cluttered, so let us do by method of elimination to see what we need and what we don't need. So let us get rid of some of the ones that are obviously not needed. And okay, I want clean lines. This is okay. This I think is okay because I want to repeat the line and partly hide the trunk. What is bothering me is this one. This one is bothering me. So if you stand back please, Josh, and I'm going to show the bag trick again to show you. All right, that is with the branch there. Now if I put this here, can you see the effect? Is it clear on the camera? So you can see a clean line there. That is cluttered. So we can get rid of all that. So we took all the trouble to wire this and we're not going to use it. What a shame. Anyway, needs must, as we say. If you don't try, we don't know. So we're going to get rid of that one. All that wiring has been done, but we're not going to use it. Less is more, but I have to keep reminding myself that we don't want so much less that we end up with nothing. So that's always a danger, So we want clean lines. So in fact, we've ended up with a literati, which is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to make a garden tree, but let's see. But you know, beauty is what counts. If it's not beautiful, then there's no point doing it. So the clean lines of the literati, see, just removing that branch has had a big effect. Now I think here also there's a bit of clutter going on here. And I think this is not needed. It is, if you go again to the back and see, if I remove this and see what effect you get. I've got rid of that now. Got rid of that. It's not hanging. So we can see the trunk line, This is a bit busy too, isn't it? Don't you think? Let's remove this one and see what happens. We've removed that one. I didn't remove too much now. Again, clean lines.
You can see the primary branch.
Yeah. So I think we will leave it like that, otherwise we end up with nothing. But we've created some nice lines, so we've removed only that much altogether from the tree. And we've ended up with that. A rather sophisticated literati garden tree. And in the garden, this tree would look really nice. In a small courtyard garden, this is what this tree is destined for. So I think I'll leave it like that. We are all happy, Josh and I?
Yep.
Okay. So I hope you've seen the thought process and the thinking and decision making that goes into it. So it's like a hairpin going that way. Everything sweeping down that line. Sweeping down that way.
Like this bit.
Okay. Yeah, that looks nice. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Okay.